Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast, this time talking about main range release from Big Finish, number 225, or should that be monthly release? Vortex Ice / Cortex Fire. Now again, you've got 2 stories, 1 box set, 1 disc per story, 2 different authors, and you've got the 6th Doctor and Flip. The first story, Vortex Ice, written by Jonathan Morris. The second story, Cortex Fire, by Ian Potter. It's the 6th Doctor and it's Flip. No sign at the moment of Connie Constance. But that's absolutely fine and completely understandable. Is it any good? It's not as good as Dalek Soul was. But you know what? Dalek Soul's destined to become a classic of Doctor Who in its own right. We've got Flip back. We've got Flip back in her own right, which is always going to be a good thing. So let's have a read of the synopsis for the first one. Vortex Ice. In search of exotic particles, the Doctor and Flip arrive 700 feet underground in a mine in northern Mexico, only to run into a scientific expedition. Among their number, an exobiologist. They're all on the hunt for alien life. Deep underground, the team finally uncovers a cave of vast crystals like ice, despite the heat. And inside the crystal, something frozen, something trapped in time. If only it was something simple, like a monster. But it's far, far worse than that. You see, these are the stories that I can't tell you about. I can't tell you what's going to happen. I can't even say, oh, it's a bit like X, or, watch out for this. Because they're giveaways. They are actual spoilers. Now, obviously, if you apply logic, you can kind of work out the sort of thing that will be trapped in the ice. Now, the one thing that I will say about these audios is these are not something to listen to, especially the first one, when you're doing something else. Yes, feel free to drive, but don't be doing something that involves any form of distraction. Get yourself strapped in and concentrate on what's happening. Because you will need to. You will suddenly go, what did I just miss? Oh, hang on. And that's not a fault of the narrative. It just demands your attention. And that's a good thing. Now, in these 2 stories, Flip is put through the ringer. Let's face it, the worst thing that really happened to her in her former adventures with the 6th Doctor was that she fell from space. I know. But obviously, she got better. But here she's put through the sort of emotional ringers that you see in the new series of Doctor Who. The sort of thing that was obviously hinted about in the old series, but here you've got stuff that's going on in New Who, stuff that the companions have to deal with, and Flip is obviously going to rise to the occasion. Lisa Greenwood is just such a great find. I hope she goes on to be the 6th Doctor's companion for as long as we can, because she's just great. Yes, I know there's a whole class thing going on, but she's not thick, and that's something that really needs to be worked on. So, a good story without question. Complicated enough to keep your attention and to keep you going. And long enough for you to think that you're listening to something great. Now, just like last week's story, they are linked narratives, but only very tentatively. Because of the events in the first story, the Doctor wants to cheer her up and show her the universe, and so it leads into the second story. And the second story, Cortex Fire, well, that's by Ian Potter. Here's the synopsis. The Doctor brings Flip to the futuristic city of Festin, the best vantage point to witness a unique astronomical light show, a city governed by the all-powerful network known as the Cortex. They're soon identified as outsiders, nihilists, perhaps responsible for a wave of terror that's been sweeping the city, but the truth is different. The people of Festin are burning up, spontaneously combusting, and no one knows why. Again, I don't want to give away spoilers. What's the point? It's a great story. It's got a brilliant piece of world building, the sort of thing that we don't see often enough in Doctor Who. I know we hear about it quite a lot, but we don't see it enough. And there's a beautiful piece of science that's been used around the world to produce magno-lev cars and things like that on this strange alien world. A slight difference in the geology of a planet gives you a whole different view of, well, how everything works. It's glorious to behold. It's the sort of thing that you got a lot more in pure sci-fi from the years gone by. It's not saying that this is an old-fashioned story by any means. It's just nice to see some proper muscles being flexed here. Characterisation-wise, spot on. No issues there at all. And of course, Lisa is demonstrating the effects of the previous story on her. Now, one of the things that I perhaps shouldn't really mention is that there is a same-sex relationship referred to in this story. Now, the last few same-sex relationships that have been happening in Big Finish stories have been female. Now, obviously, got no issues with that at all, but there seems to be not as many male same-sex relationships happening in Big Finish stories. I'm just thinking, if we're in the world of making things equal for all, perhaps that's something worth making a nod to, especially in the case of the last 2 or 3 that I can think of. One of the partners gets bumped off. Let's not put everyone in a fridge, shall we? Let's not stick with that kind of tradition. I know the body count in Doctor Who is always going to be high, and anyone's sexuality does not matter when it comes to that, but let's not make it a pattern, yeah? Or perhaps, if we are making it a pattern, let's just keep with it. But then again, you've got a high number of female actor parts, which you also have to balance out. Oh, it's a nightmare of casting. In the interests of balance, we've created balance, so sue me. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is that these are a cracking release. Well written, well thought out, and the only thing I'm worried about is that they're going to be so successful that the main range release will be reduced to 1 disc and 1 story. Because let's face it, you're still getting great stories from the Tom Baker range and they're only 1 disc each. Oh, I didn't say that out loud. Let's not put ideas like that into Big Finish's minds, shall we? Not that they wouldn't have already thought of that. So, with that, I'll let you hear the trailer and let you decide for yourself. So, be seeing you.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions. Doctor Who. Vortex Ice, Cortex Fire.
You don't actually believe the Doctor.
Well, in the last hour, I've seen a cave of giant crystals, the remains of an alien spaceship, and its pilot. Right now, I'll believe anything.
Whenabouts are we? Past or future?
As far as you're concerned, the present. Northern Mexico, Chihuahua.
You're not letting them come with us, Professor.
I don't see that I have any choice, Yannick.
But I don't trust them.
I'm not asking you to trust them.
Professor, I think we might be able to pool our resources. After all, we're both looking for the same thing.
What?
Alien life.
Use the brake bar! You're going far too fast!
I'm in the judge of that, mate.
Is your friend always so reckless?
Holly! Holly!
What the hell's going on?
We're missing something very obvious. When they dug it up, there was something inside.
Hey! I think we found your source.
Therefore it has happened. Therefore it will happen. Therefore it must happen. This is our destiny. It has now been written.
What the hell? I'm sorry. I had to do it.
Big Finish. We love stories.
That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog Podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.